Hello, everybody, and welcome to this lecture in which I will give you some tips about how to set up your online presence using websites, social media, and such. This video is primarily targeted for students who are graduating after the semester, but as well for students who are in junior or even sophomore level, because the topic of creating your online presence sooner or later will be very important for you too. When I was a student, 2000, we had the internet, but it wasn't really the internet of what we have today. The technology, the speed, everything was much more limited. Also, the amount of services was not as diverse. Today is actually a really great time to be in. So let's get started. So the first service I can highly recommend to you to use is LinkedIn. Think about LinkedIn as a digital business card, just much more interactive. Here you can see my own LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is also free, which is nice. At the beginning, the way how this is set up, you can see some of my teaser images, a little bit about myself, work or educational history, how many connections I have. Don't think about too much about connections. Also, it's not really a matter of having the most amount of connections, because that could mean you just simply say yes to every invite. So be very, very selective with your connections. But connections, well, this is the main reason of why we have LinkedIn. It's actually really good. I will come back to that in a moment. Then you can show something about yourself, a little bit of your activity, your work experience, your education, skills, recommendations, and so forth. Now I talked about connections. This is really the greatest part about LinkedIn, because it's actually where you can quickly set up your network. You can stay in contact with people very easily via the built-in messaging system. You can find people and ask them to connect too. So it's really, really great. This works nationally, it works internationally. Amazing. Also for me now as a faculty and also as a designer, I get a lot of inquiries through actually LinkedIn, because somebody needs somebody for a project. They hired an HR company or talent search company who did a search in LinkedIn, and I popped up among others, and then they connect or contact you and then connect you. So it's kind of like a pre-interview, if you want to see it this way. So for that, and because LinkedIn doesn't cost anything, it is really, really good to have. I would keep it really brief, a little bit of your work, obviously all your education and all your work experience. Maybe be very selective also with the skills. Don't show everything. Really focus on who are you, and just yeah, focus on that. Some recommendations are always good, particularly from previous work, if you did any publication or something. And yeah, good. The next good service to be at least in it to a certain degree is Coroflot. Coroflot, I would say, is a straight up portfolio website where you can host your images. So here, this is my at this point actually quite outdated presence. Ring ring, that's another thing really to be aware of. The more social media outlets you have, the more a task you have also to keep things updated all the time. So again, sometimes less is more. Here we have an about section, a portfolio where you can post images of your work. I simply showed images. You can break the portfolio up also into projects, which might make it more interesting or logical, easier to navigate. What's also really good about portfolio is you can find people, you can find jobs too, salary informations, and so forth. So it's actually, as you can see, not really that bad, The only downside, kind of like of Coroflot, is literally everybody is there, so it's really hard to stand out. But again, the way how also you can set up and use LinkedIn, it really comes down to what do you show and how can you expose yourself to others. Yeah, and then we have something called Instagram. That's actually, for me, again, really quite interesting to see because when I was a student 2000, that didn't even really exist yet. And even this idea of having as a professional, like an Instagram presence, that didn't even really come across as a professional idea. And today it is. So, where Instagram is really quite nice is because of its simplicity and just focusing on maybe some images. Yeah, you can use it as kind of like a visual image business card, slideshow if you want to take it this way. For example, in LinkedIn, you have your profile and then you have a link to your Instagram page. People can follow you. I have, for example, here Concepts app open, and then I can see what they do all the time. Instagram, you could use, let's say, like if you want to document a project you do and just make people aware of, kind of like pieces of that project, maybe some sketching exercises, maybe some 3D modeling. You could document kind of like your process or other interesting elements. So for that, Instagram is actually quite nice. And this is the really important thing to consider too. Well, unlike 2000, the understanding expectations today changed, and Instagram is seen really also as a valid outlet because it is maybe just more a slideshow or snapshot of images. It also means for the viewer, it's an easy click to find content, to look at it. It's not like a big website they have to navigate. So also here, now my recommendation, make use of Instagram. It's a perfect tool to keep people all the time on there or informed, kind of like what you do right now. And then we have YouTube, which is another really excellent source to share or to tell the world who you are as a creative person. I have here Demi Lee. She is an architect, design theory. He talks about industrial design and 3040 design workshop. He is an independent architect. And these videos or these three channels are actually really great. They are very informative. Here, he talks really a lot about the process of architecture, the software, the tools, hand sketching. It's really great. It's very informative. Design theory is also very thought provoking because his videos are really well made because they tackle really, yeah, they're very, very interesting. The discussions he has, he isn't just rambling or ranting or so. And Emily, she's also quite interesting because of the different questions she proposes, like how do you survive as an architect later, and so forth. No, the general downside with YouTube, however, is, or it's not necessarily a downside. This is more from my side coming as a warning. Also, here again, be careful what you post and how you post it. The nice thing about YouTube is, as you can see, you can perfectly set up your profile and design the channels, have videos and playlists and whatnot, and even have a store. So that's all really, really great. What I find very irritating and frustrating is when the content is badly made, or I don't want to say childish, but it feels like copy and paste. Maybe copy and paste is a really good thing. And then you also have all these influencers, which are really irritating me a lot. Um, the worst annoying thing in my point is like there's a new piece of technology, and then there come like out of 10 channels, everybody has a different video about this technology. Yet surprisingly, everybody follows nearly the same script because then it really feels like you're not producing this content, you're just making content and you're copying other people. So try to be really true about you. You can, similar to Instagram, you can use YouTube to have monologue about something that's on your mind that you find interesting. You could videotape the process of sketching something, the process of 3D modeling something. You could really in depth via video show how you work, which is actually really, really great. And now for me as a faculty, I use YouTube primarily to host all my lecture videos on it. People then can find it worldwide. It's always really funny when, like recently, I got an email from an American who now studies in Helsinki, and he is what did he study? I think he does not study design or something, but he found a YouTube video about Blender and Fusion 360, and he needs help with 3D modeling to get a quote for manufacturing for a toy. So it's really interesting that how these connections can happen. Now, again, the same thing like with LinkedIn, also in YouTube, people can Google something. And if you have really great videos of your work or monologues or something, now the stuff can go right into LinkedIn too as, well, a link. And then comes the topic of how to create your own website. Don't freak out. In this lecture, I'm not going to show you how to hand program your own website. And that is a massive task, which is why I also study it for multiple semesters. In this lecture, I will introduce you to the concept of using website services like Google Sites or, for example, Wix. And these services are based on a responsive design toolkit. That basically means you think about like in Illustrator, you place text and images, and then you hit publish, and the website based on your device, smartphone, tablet, or PC, Mac, will scale accordingly. So I have, for example, here the Google site website for like Design at Wayne. This is something where I'm working on right now. I have, for example, multiple pages, themes. I can insert text and images. You see here when I move my mouse around, it finds actually various kind of like areas. And when I click on it or try to adjust it, you see there it showed you a grid and so forth. These engines have the limit that you cannot customize them as much as you want. On the other side, you can actually create really stunning websites without really much coding work. The Google site is completely free, it's a little bit more limited, but maybe actually a really good starter. The Wix service is more complex, more advanced, can do more, but also requires more of an understanding. Also is free when you show, for example, the Made with Wix on your website. Both services also allow you to attach your own domain if you bought one. Domain, for example, if you go to, let's say, Google domain, I'm not advertising the company, but you can really actually get domains here really cheap. And then just you search for it, and then it tells you how much it would cost for the year. Okay, so we will start actually with the Google sites. I will talk about how this works, etc. But before we really do anything for website design, really should understand what do we actually want. So we can ask ourselves now, what is it we would like to do? A portfolio website, similar like CoverFlood, maybe an about the projects on multiple pages and a contact page. Okay, now let's write this down. So we have our home page. That's basically where you go to once you type in the URL. Then we have our portfolio. Okay. And then actually a contact. What about an about? Yeah. So from here, could go to there. From the home page, I could go to contact. And obviously, I go to portfolio too. And then here, let's say I have project 1 and project 2. So from that page, I can go to there and there. And in the navigation, is there even a way to switch maybe and jump between these projects too? So this is kind of like the amount of pages and maybe also the navigation structure. What about those of you who would like to start their own studio work? So portfolio is less really the correct work. Let's say client work example, for example. Or actually maybe clients don't want their work to be there. Maybe, hey, first, what client did I work for? What's my expertise? Just having a website that says, hey, I can do interior design doesn't really say much. Saying I like industrial design doesn't say much. Be specific. Do you offer 3D modeling service? I, for example, teach primarily, and then I'm a one-man show. So there are a lot of things I simply don't have the time or resources for. So I focus on tasks in my commercial work. That's the reason why I work as a contract designer, where I can supply a missing piece. Now we also have the about, now the client, blah, blah, blah. Now we can try to think about restructure this. So maybe this contact, can maybe go to there? Okay, yeah. But honestly, also here, this expertise, maybe this is also part of about. Now, who are you? Well, technically speaking, if you want to do it this way, we can even play this game this way. And we're making this navigation actually kind of really silly because it would mean on the home page, I click on about and then I see these things. No? Good. The main reason why I did this type of a quick exercise is to show you that what we did here, which is called wireframing, is really very useful to develop the flow, the navigation flow, or the storytelling of your website. And how do you get from one page to the next page? And now let's take a look at how we can create a website starting with Google Sites. The main reason why I'm showing you Google Sites is because it is actually very simplistic, which sometimes can be a little bit frustrating, but it's also very easy and fast to learn. So it is actually an ideal tool to make a quick prototype like this and then see if this works before I spend more time and resources on a more complex site or service like Wix. Okay, so lower right corner, we click create new site, and there we are. So this is our homepage. Let me explain you quickly how this works. Here we have actually the document name. You can call this home. You see home, there it is. And we can call this welcome, for example. And we have a header. So what happens when we click on header type, title only, banner, large, cover? Okay, now you can see what this all does. Change image, we can upload an image, we can change the image. We're like serious designers. Okay, here we select an appropriate background image. Okay, good. This text here, we can move around a little bit. Now you see. And then also what's happening there in the background. So I will talk about this in the next piece here. So this is the header. And then here, this is actually our menu where we can add kind of like a logo. If you have a small logo, you could upload it, ideally with a transparent background. We have the ability to set the navigation. I will go into that actually more at the end with the navigation when it's appropriate. So again, here's the header. Here's the rest of the web page. And then, we can add a footer. Footer basically means now something that is always at the bottom of the page, the header's on top, and then the website kind of like scrolls in between. So how do I get content onto here? Again, the nice thing of this Google Sites engine, first it is a responsive design, which means you only design it one time and then the engine will scale the content so it looks correctly and is easy viewable on any device, smartphone to tablet and PC. And then here, insert, there we have text and image. These two you can kind of like ignore. We have our layout and we have some more options here. To add text, we can click this box or left mouse button, double click, and you get this pop-up there. You see every time something happens this way, we kind of like get a pop-up. And here I'm just inserting, for example, an image. And there we are, insert. Thank you. Okay. Let's take a look at the text. We can type in headline and then sample text, copy and paste and paste and paste and paste. Maybe here too. So typography or writing text in a website is not like the tools you have in Illustrator or InDesign with tabs. There are similar tools, but they have to be hand programmed, kind of like with tabs, etc. Other stuff here is more simplified. The nice thing for this, however, again, is it makes the learning curve kind of simple. So this is normal text. It should be a headline, not headling. Okay. Heading or title. Now we see how we can change all this. Pretty cool. We have different fonts, colors. We can make this text centered, right justified, everything left justified. Come on. Or not. That's hilarious. Come on. Thank you. You can add a link to a text. So now here we could type in www and then say google.com, apply. And now if I would click on this, you see there's a line under it. It would actually link to it. That's how easy it is to add a link. We can, what's more? Oh, so a little bit of spacing. So if we want this to be more double spaced. So it's kind of like what you also have in Google Docs. Yeah. Okay. Here, this we can scale. Look at that. What happens when we bring it to there? Cool, no? This here now we can move around. And again, this is what I was showing here. It was just difficult. You see, there's actually a grid system, column system that goes top to bottom. And that is kind of like predefined. And I can make my content snap to it. Not like snap or move exactly 1 pixel to the left. It snaps to these columns. But the nice thing is that is then kind of like where it will stay. So it is glued here to that position. I can move this one up to there. I can delete also this one. So you see how easy it is to move stuff around. I stacked this actually. You see how this I drag out now. There, I can drag this under it. Or put this below. You see now it's a new piece. This, for example, I can give a different style. You see it's kind of like for the background. These I can also move around. So it's pretty, as you see, fairly easy. So I'm going to delete this for the moment. So let's say this is just our welcome page. And now we would like to add an about page or portfolio page. How do we add more pages? And this is where, again, the system is super easy. We go to pages and say here, new page. And then we say about. Of course, spelled correctly. And new page, portfolio. Done. And look at that. You see here, it actually generates the menu for you. And new page, services, I don't know. Blog links, social media, whatever. Yeah. There again, pretty cool. In here, we can change the order and then it changes it there. Again, I think, I hope that at this point now you start realizing how easy the system is to use. And we can even drag things into each other. You see now it's actually nested. And I can even drag them out again. Cool. To edit now the about or the service, you see I just can click on these pages and then there I am. Let's go to about. Here, insert text box, sample text. I just put this in just for the sake of having it there. Okay, so you can see now if I go to there, it's different. Let's go back to maybe portfolio and insert. We also have these layouts. So for example, 1, 2, and then whatever this could be, image or something else. We also have this and this and this. It's just different layouts. Essentially, it's all the same, just an image with text. And then here, these pieces are, because I can drag this around, they are grouped together. Like here, this is an individual piece, but then there you see I can just group this together. Now I can move this as one piece. Super easy. Let's go to about here. And maybe I do the about this way. Bye-bye. Design Studio. And then here, made in Detroit. Show me Google Maps. Okay, so where is Detroit? There we are. Zup, zup, zup. And can position this a little bit. Thank you. Select. Oh, look at that. There we have it. Portfolio. Here I would like to select an image. Here, maybe I go and select this one. There we are. These others here I delete. Okay. So now, how do we now go from this to the actual page? No? So I will actually add another page. Call this exhibit design. Custom path. Now we will do this by hand. We could put this to under there. So you see it's actually now portfolio exhibit design. So here now I could add a button. Go to page. And then here, exhibit design. Thank you. There, and then move this one maybe to there. Okay, so how does this service actually look? Let's go to preview. Home and about service. Now you see how this works. Portfolio, click on this one, goes to that exhibit page. Go back. This is the page for the PC, mobile, the phone. You see how then the navigation system updates accordingly. See how this scales. Again, this is what responsive design is about. Here again, I can also select this and say insert link, go to this page. Thank you. Okay, very good. Then, since we're actually getting really close to the end, we can add the footer, give this a style too. There we are. Actually, let's go preview one more time. Actually, hold on. I would like to try something out. And here I will add a little bit of and a nice amount of text to see what will happen when we have to scroll this. Yeah, okay. So you see the footers down there. Okay. So I think first I said like this will stay at the bottom. It does not stay at the bottom, but you see the navigation actually stays on top. There, when I scroll down too much, it comes in. Okay, good. Very good. So few things now we can change and customize. Again, the grid system is all pre-programmed, so we can move things around as we would like to. But we can't customize that too much. But the navigation system and the colors we can change. So first, maybe play with the themes and see if this is already something that could work. But problem with the themes, if you use something everybody else uses a lot, it will look like, oh, you use that theme. But maybe at the beginning, it's kind of okay to play with this a little bit. And this is quite nice here with the white dot below. There you see how they're all a little bit different. And then they even give you different color themes. Font style, modern or classic. Let's go to, where was this? Yeah, maybe here. There you see all the text is updated. So we can specify what type of text something should be. For example, was this, where did we have this? For example, this is maybe title. This is then normal, and I will add subtext And then this, for example, here, small text. So now if we change all this, you see how everything is adjusted. We can, however, also create our own theme, custom theme. So we can add a logo, custom banner, the color palette we would like to use, or create our own custom colors. And then the fonts, for example, create a theme. And now this is not finished yet. So here we can still make my eyes hurt. Then you see this and this. This is what basically is adjusted. Light. So here and here, Arial, maybe the condensed light. No, there. Oh, already looks much better. Keep changes. Colors. Here are our colors for the background. As you know, all this actually makes more sense what these colors do for the title. So this one, if we make this maybe blue, you see this is blue now. The subheading, maybe magenta. Maybe we do not have a subheading. Or was it small text there? Yeah, small text. No? Stuff for the text, how big something should be in common, the normal stuff. Images for the header logo, navigation. Navigation is interesting. So preview, okay, on top. When we scroll over, oh, you see, oof, that really hurts. And this hurts a lot too. It's already better. Transparent top. Navigation bold, colored background. Colored background. Oh, there. Okay, colored foreground. But what is now colored foreground? Bold? Don't understand. Okay, underline. Oh, I see. There's that line. Then this is then basically the color. Yep, you see side navigation, shading. Side navigation when it's actually on the side. Okay, good. That makes actually then sense. Foreground colored. Yeah. Selected page color components. Button dividers, yeah, links. How should links, for example, always look like? Yeah, and that basically is really it. Again, we can change the navigation also to the site. So there it's gone. It's actually now in there. So really easy to use. And then also really useful if you work with a team. Sometimes I like before the pandemic, when we had interior design student organization, we set up the end of year show and we used this service to set everything up. We just shared this design with other students in the organization so they could contribute and modify it. Settings, branding. Yeah, we were just in that, and then we have more version, make a copy, publish. What happens here? Now there's my home page, publish, takes a moment, and then publish settings. So now that is now my the link. So website.google.com/whatever. If I buy actually a domain, which is pretty cheap, I can set up in the domain. If I type in the domain, it just goes to a particular like business card URL. So it's URL forwarding, and I can just use this as a forwarding. and then they go right to it. So I can save actually the hosting cost. If you go to GoDaddy or other services to look into what a website costs per year, pretty much the fee is not the, how could I say that? What really costs money is not hosting the domain. What costs is really reserving the server space to host your website. You can unpublish it, view published, review changes, publish settings. Yeah, that's where we are. And yeah, that's basically it. So now we could go to view published site. I would go to it, and yeah, there we are. Not the greatest yet, needs some love, but I hope that basically with this I was able to show you how uncomplicated actually it is. Now again, the website structure here is very easy to use. That makes it very fast to learn. What really the website will excel at is just the amount of text and the images you put into it and the structure. Your content really is going to rule. The website design, honestly, not really as much. Really what you put onto it. And then we have Wix. So Wix is actually a pretty good service, I have to say. Their new Editor X is really good. It is much more advanced than Google Sites, and that's also the downside, which means to be able to use it correctly, you need to spend a little bit of time and work. That's actually where, again, I find very often Google Sites, yeah, it's more bare bone, but actually, if you are smart, you can get a pretty slick Instagram quality like website done. Period. Perfect. Okay, so let's give this a try. Anyway, for those who are interested, create new site. It has two editors, the standard Wix and the new Editor X. Go with the X. I think that is honestly the better one. You can do all this or simply skip. And then I will say here, edit, and click edit here. So start from scratch. While this is working and this one is working, it's really good if you study some of the pre-made websites or templates like this, because you can click on objects, see what all that stuff means. Not publish, sorry. Click preview, explore them, and just, whoa, stuff is animated. How is the stuff being animated? Let's go back to the edit website and click on objects that were moving around, and oh, this is blue, this is animated. Oh, it uses the glide in and such. Now, this was obviously very rushed. This was more a teaser to don't be ashamed of looking into the other templates or finished websites, because you're not going to, and you should not, make a copy and put your own content in, but you can learn from how these websites are set up. And it's basically your tutorial. They're like really good references. That's how I learned website design too. That's actually how literally everybody does that. Okay, so you're still busy working. There we are. Cool. So this is now Editor X. Very quickly. Here's the header, main body, and here is the foot. On the right side, when you click something, you see you get the menus. Here we have the different devices, homepage, and then here we have stuff to add. For example, in here, I would like to add an image. Okay. And when I click this section, add a title. Okay. And add some text. There we are. Yeah. I can scale this. There we are. I can move this around, scale this, make these a little bit the same. And you see when I move things around, it's like Illustrator. It looks like all the snapping things are working. Now, here this dot is actually, or bar is quite nice because I can scale this page down and it looks a little bit crazy. And pay attention to what's happening here. You see how it switches between the different devices, PC, tablet, and yeah, smartphone. So you notice that the stuff quickly got kind of terrible. Again, this is where the Google site works really good because it does all that stuff for you already. But we have the tools here too. We just need to know where they are and how this works. I can't really show everything in detail, just a little bit, but I hope this way you start getting a hunch of how to approach this. And we have a perfect help section with videos and everything there too. So if you want to design a website that is viewable on different devices, you technically speaking need to optimize it for different content. And for print and for portfolio design, for PDF, you always hear me talk about the grid, the layout. So let's add a grid here. 3 columns. And there we are. So now I can take this image, scale this image so it fits in there. Very nice. I have this title, this text, and what are actually these dots here? So if I go to here, you see there are kind of like dog to the left, dog to the top. Think about this, well, yeah, like dogs, like anchors. They help a little bit specifying where this element on a page actually should be. This image, for example, is fluid, so it is scaling up or not. You see now it's just moving. I can even make these actually not fixed. So they stay where they are. And then they, well, crash. Yeah. Hopefully this is not too confusing, but welcome to website design. Essentially in website design, we design fluid layouts. They have to adapt based on the web page size. That's basically what I'm doing here. I can also select 2 elements with shift, left mouse button, make it, stack it, copy and paste. I bring this over maybe to here, there, very nice. And yeah, here you get smaller. You see how actually this image with the grid is kind of updating correct, but then yeah, this is kind of terrible. When I go to this device, I look at this, change grid. Let's go horizontal. No, this is much better. Maybe adjusting this a little bit. And here, this I will bring up to there. Okay. You I bring to there. This one I make a little bit wider too. Okay. Go to this device. You see now how, haha. See, there they are. And then here, this is already a little bit different. And then there, they are kind of like stacked this way. So hopefully maybe you start seeing a little bit what I meant with the complexity of these, of website design. It can all look very awesome at the beginning. And easy. Google Sites, again, really is easy. Wix is, or Editor X is actually also really easy because you don't have to hand code all the stuff, but you still need to really know how this works. So for those who are interested, you need to go to the help section and then learn more about how to do like a responsive layout, the grid system, the breakpoints. If you Google these things, you find basically everything what you need. We would like maybe to add another page here. Manage pages, add one here. Let's call this portfolio. There we are. Thank you. Add maybe an image. There we are. Cool. There's actually here our menu. So when I click this manage menu, I don't really see much now. So add item. Oh, site page. Oh, look at that. Portfolio. Thank you. Oh, check there. It is added to it. So now if I go to preview, I can flip between this. Let's see, how does this look on a tablet? Let's see here, there it switched to this type of layout or for mobile there. Cool. Okay. I hope with this I gave you enough of a quick, I know, rushed, but this was only possible in the scope introduction into what Wix or Editor X is actually about. Again, it is not too complicated. If you are intimidated by this video, don't be. Realistically, it might take you a few days to play with it, watch some videos in the evening. How to do responsive design, how to work with fluid layout, how to do breakpoints, how the container and stacking works. These are the most important hurdles, and then the rest is really labor work, putting it in and testing the websites. Last thing, connect a domain. Okay, now get a domain. I have already a domain. Again, I'm not working for them, but I have to say, it's just Google domain is really a great and cheap service. I use this also because I have Google Sites and a lot of other Google products. They're nicely linked together. Design at Wayne State. So, oh, look at that, $12 per year. That's not really expensive, no? So for $12, you can buy it, and then you can link this to Wix, or you can also link this to Google Sites. And then when you type in that domain, you go to the hosted site on Wix. Because what's really expensive with having your own website is actually not the domain, it's actually the service that's hosting the site. And yeah, I could click publish. Now there's the site. And that's it. Awesome. I hope this was informative.